Many people enjoy horror films, but why do we prefer being scared? In this video, we discuss why we enjoy horror films, from classics to recent hits. Horror is one of the most enduringly popular film genres. They consistently top the box office, and many of their characters, from Norman Bates in Psycho to Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare on Elm Street to Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs, have become iconic figures in culture. However, while many people eagerly purchase tickets to the next horror film release, we attempt to avoid anything that frightens us in our daily lives. So why would we pay to see a film that makes us fearful and terrified? In this video we will uncover the secrets why we love horror movies. Why some people like it and others don't. Is it beneficial or harmful? Let us first investigate why we enjoy horror films. One of the reasons we like being terrified is from our evolutionary psychology. Our forefathers had to continuously be on the lookout for risks in their surroundings, and the capacity to perceive and respond to danger swiftly was critical to their survival. Of course, because we don't face real-life hazards as frequently as ancient humans, watching horror films can be a fresh experience that allows us to exercise our innate threat detection system. This not only increases the audience's interest in horror films, but it also allows them to experience things like the post-apocalypse, alien invasions, and the threat of an assailant in a safe atmosphere. The adrenaline rush provided by horror films is another component that contributes to their attraction. When we watch a horror film, our bodies automatically go into fight or flight mode, releasing adrenaline and other stress hormones. This surge may be addicting, and many people seek out the thrill of horror movies to experience it in a safe and controlled setting. Horror films, in addition to portraying our fears, can also serve as a sort of societal commentary. Films such as George Romero's Night of the Living Dead and Jordan Peele's Get Out, for example, combine horror aspects to remark on subjects such as racism, class, and politics. Filmmakers may create a visceral and dramatic experience that stays with viewers long after the curtains fall and the credits roll by utilizing horror as a lens to explore these topics. Horror films can also be regarded historically, as they frequently reflect the fears and concerns of the time. For example, war films from the 1930s and 1940s represented World War II anxiety, but slasher films from the 1980s reflected AIDS fears and the emergence of serial killers. Understanding the historical context of these films allows us to appreciate their effect and significance more fully. Now that we've seen why horror films are popular, let's look at why some people enjoy them and others don't. Numerous research have shown that people who are high in the attribute of sensation-seeking prefer horror. Sensation-seeking is the desire for new, hazardous, or extreme experiences. People with a high level of sensation-seeking are more likely to have happy emotions when they encounter strongly stimulating experiences, even if those experiences are undesirable. People with less empathy tend to appreciate horror films more because they are less affected by the misery represented on screen. That doesn't mean that those with higher empathy don't appreciate horror films. While they may avoid horror films owing to the depiction of pain and suffering, if they do watch them, they appreciate the risk and excitement of the plots, as well as horror films with happy endings. More than any other individual difference, sex is most predictive of enjoyment of horror films, with males tending to enjoy scary and violent movies far more than females. This disparity can be explained in part by the fact that females experience more dread and anxiety than males. Furthermore, females tend to be more sensitive to revulsion than males, which may lead them to dislike horror films that portray blood and gore. So the final question is it beneficial or harmful? There's a growing body of research that suggests horror movies could be used in clinical settings to help people with anxiety or trauma. A recent study, for example, found that persons who viewed horror movies were less psychologically upset by the COVID-19 virus, and those who liked the apocalyptic subgenre of horror were more prepared for future waves of the pandemic. Having said that, horror films can have certain negative impacts. Anxiety sufferers are prone to have a variety of reactions to horror films. Watching gruesome images can cause unpleasant thoughts and sentiments, as well as elevated levels of anxiety or fear, and can even raise our sensitivity to startle-eliciting stimuli, making nervous people more likely to respond negatively and misunderstand the sensations as real dangers. This excited response, which is a crucial part of the horror movie experience, can also make it difficult to sleep, and the awful events we've seen on screen may cause nightmares that disrupt our REM sleep. A good night's sleep is critical for both physical and mental health, and sleep deprivation or poor quality sleep has been found to have a negative impact on how our brains process emotions the next day, with poor sleep even being related to various mental health disorders.
In general, horror films are fantastic, with far more to like than to detest. If you have an anxious disposition or aren't great when adrenaline kicks in, you should probably avoid them. However, for the majority of individuals, they will give plenty of nervous excitement and fun.
What do you think about the video? Which are your favorite horror movies? Do let me know in the comments. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.